Um,
Okay, here go record. Okay, we record now. My bad. Oh my goodness. You can tell this I'm not used to doing this. So we are recording.
man,
But this
we
one,
we
this
we,
is
lear- we learning as we go. You feel me?
man, okay. We used to going live, but Podbean has changed its formats. I don't know what happened, but they said that they don't allow live recordings anymore because some states have banned it. I don't know why,
Mm.
but so they don't do it. They don't.
That's them folks trying to kill freedom of speech, man.
There you go. I guess so. Dang, that's crazy though. Cause you think about it, when you live, you can just say whatever, and people
Correct.
listening.
And people tapping in from, here, there, and everywhere. You feel me?
You know what? You right, Corey. I didn't even think about that. I did not think about that.
And I guaranteed you, unfortunately, and I could be wrong, but it's probably them good old red states that was the main majority of that.
You already know it. It's probably some of these blue ones. I'm convinced they all
In
whew,
cahoots.
in cahoots. It's the same. What folks say, the same bird, different wings, different feather, different wings. They all, when they leave and get done doing what they doing, they all go to the same place and vacation and eat dinner at the same spots. They,
Agreed.
they family members, they sons and daughters date each other. It's a conglomerate. So,
No difference than when we in court. You feel me? You don't pay for this attorney, and
man,
man, when they are shackling you off to the back or whatever, hell, the DA and your attorney and the judge are all going out for lunch and shit.
man,
So
listen, Corey, I did not know how corrupt. I mean, I don't know if I want to say it's corrupt, but the conflict of interest in that is crazy work to me because
hmm
I know somebody who had a situation, a little charge, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I got this lawyer here in chat," and the lawyer was like, "Oh yeah, I go to lunch with the judge, so you should be good. We can get your charges knocked down, X Y Z da 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 da." His son took my daughter to the prom. I'm like, what? Hold on.
right.
So y'all really are buddies for real?
And I guarantee you, as they would say, like, all right, no difference than me working in the medical field or whatnot, how they make HIPAA a big thing or whatnot. You feel me? Not disclosing anybody's information, name, and et
Right.
cetera. I guarantee you, in those luncheons, what you think they discussing?
Man, that part. That part. But that's where we are though, Corey. I think. I think that all of the rules that we think are in play, they're only in play for certain sect of people. They not in play for everybody like we think because they don't follow none of these rules. I don't think. I don't think. Because just looking at how the way things are going with the government, like it's checks and balances, and the checks and balances ain't being followed. People just coming in, doing what they want to, seeing, throwing everything out there and seeing what sticks. And people are just going with it. Like, at what point do you be like, hey, this ain't making sense? This,
Right.
this ain't right.
Man, like you say, man, these folks working for the betterment of them or whatnot. Period.
Yeah.
Their agenda or whatnot. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, they keeping their legacy going.
For
So,
sure.
we know what it is. We ain't gonna harp on it, but we gonna make you aware because you got to know. Got to know. Okay, so we back with Sap Sucker Sundays. So y'all bear with us. We did this has been since what, February, now July. We got a little different format going. Like I said before, we are not live anymore. We are recording, pre-recorded. So you got
Yep,
me,
yep.
the Fisa B, and we got on the other side.
Man, it's your good old homeboy, man, Corey, man. But y'all can call me Furious, man. I have adopted the mindset and the thought process of the fictional or actor played by Lawrence Fishburne in Boys in the Hood, Furious Styles or whatnot. I always for some reason, even as a kid, before I even understood what he was putting out in that movie, I gravitated towards Furious, Ho, Get Down, and yeah, that's who y'all on board with.
All right, we all right, all right, all right. I gotta find me a nickname. I have one next time we get on. So for this Sunday, reboot of Fuck Your Thoughts, Sap Sucker Sunday. The title that we have is Beyond the Mason Line, Southern Everywhere I Go. On this episode of Fuck Your Thoughts, we will delve into the Black American experience as it relates to leaving the South and moving into other parts of the continental United States. We will discuss the history of Black migration as well as the racial implications that may have come along with living in another area. As always, we will talk our sass and get off task and crack jokes in our West Tennessee lingo. And then I have a disclaimer because people be sensitive. So they be wanting you to think you got to have titles and stuff behind your name. So let me give y'all this. The views and opinions that are expressed on this show are those of our own individual knowledge and experiences. We may not have a doctor in front of our name or a PhD behind our names, but we have lived life as well as done our own studies, and we know how to read, y'all. So we ain't no
For
dummies.
sure. And that part.
So there we go. So you got any news for us? Anything you want to share this go round, Corey?
Yes, 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 I do. With that being said, like I used to kind of do or whatnot on our old shows, I would try my best to educate our listeners on some sort of black fact. And so, with that being said, on this day, July the 5th, 1852, abolitionist Frederick Douglass delivered his iconic address, What to the Slave is the 4th of July or whatnot. You feel me?
Mm,
So, that's a historic black fact that happened on this particular day. And before we um, get off or whatnot, I want to kind of read just a snippet
okay.
of his sayings or whatnot. And
Okay.
with that being said, what to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days of the year the gross injustice and cruelty which he is the consistent victim. And like I say, that's a snippet or whatnot of his, whole
Mm,
speech or whatever. But I chose that one or whatnot because it speak literally into the fact or whatnot. Here we are, some hundred or some years later, and them words ring true.
mm-hmm. So you think that we're victims, or eventually we start off as victims, and you have to get out of the victim? What's your opinion?
Mindset. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do got to get out of somewhat to a certain extent the victim mind state, but also um, stay. I don't want to say necessarily staying in there, but
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging that it happened or whatever. You
Yeah.
feel me?
Yeah.
Um, because if we don't do that or whatnot, then that means any and everything that our ancestors went through, it was for nothing. You feel me?
Right.
So all the sacrifices that they made, it was all for nothing. So nah, if anything, like you say, as we all grow and learn or whatever, of course, we can't necessarily stay in one particular mindset or facet. You have to grow. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. I think in the beginning you're victims, but then once you see what the play is, you try to move around that play to not
oh,
stay a victim. Because if you stay a victim, you put yourself in a cycle, endless cycle of victimhood, and your mentality will be in such that you are stuck in a place that you never. It's just hard to get out. But also, with that being said, the things that happen over hundreds of years, a span of hundreds of years. So it takes a while for that to be undone. So you
I
say,
totally agree.
say it's happened 600 years. It's gonna take about that plus some more. What they be telling people? Well, if you've been on drugs for this long, it's gonna take you at least half that amount of time to get off of it, if not more. I don't know if that's the exact verbiage or
No,
term.
it's in that realm of things. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm right there with you.
So yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
for every year that you done been on drugs, it's gonna take you about 6 months to recover from that.
for sure. If
Yeah.
not more, whatever. Because like they say, when we talking about addiction or things of that nature, or whatever. It's a disease,
Yeah.
unfortunately, that they have to endure, and it's a everyday process of trying your best to take better steps
Mhm.
and whatnot, and then also too, like you say, in that trauma that we have endured for all those hundreds of years or whatever. And like you say, hell, it's gonna take instead of months in that particular situation,
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For us to truly heal and get to a better place or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just roughly what 12% of us here.
Right. Exactly. So it's we got it. We gotta have grace. But we gonna tap into that a little deeper once we get into the aspects of what we experience as Black people in this country
For
from
sure.
different areas. So I'm gonna come to y'all with my word of the day, Merriam-Webster. Merriam-Webster's word of the day for July the 5th, 2026 is acquisitive. 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 And that is an adjective. And it means someone or something described as acquisitive is characterized by a strong desire to own or acquire more things. So basically, acquisitive, the root word is acquire. So that makes sense. Characterized by a strong desire to acquire more things. So an example of this would be for a sentence. The game aims to teach middle schoolers to balance their acquisitive instincts with a consideration of what will benefit society as a whole. Okay.
For sure. Well, with that being said, I have been a inquisitive person my whole life on all type of different spectrums.
Right. Exactly. Right. That's what I say. I'm a acquisitive person of knowledge. Like I love to learn. I like to
Right.
read. Like here the last few months, I really have been getting back into reading, like getting in touch with what's important. Sometimes and reading gives you a quiet space. Like I ain't talking about reading on the internet, scrolling through stuff. That's fun,
Right.
but reading a book, like I have really been getting back into reading and tapping into my imagination the last few months because
Good for you, sis.
man, because the internet is fun, but it'll take you down some rabbit holes into some places with your thoughts. And sometimes it can be too much. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Overwhelming, and it can frazzle you more than really calm you down sometimes. Because I know I get to doom scrolling. If something happen, I'm feeling worried about something. I get to scrolling. It should do not make life better in no manner.
No, it don't. It kind of eggs it on, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's like the phone slick and read my mind, so it's gonna start talking about shit that I'm going through, and I be like, bruh, like I can relate to it. I need this, but damn, like now you got me questioning my thoughts, and I'm trying to go with the thoughts that I'm getting off the internet. Man, let me just sit with myself and go with my own thoughts before I be done went with somebody else shit and fucked up my life because it ain't the same situation.
Right, 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 right. And
I,
I think, and not to cut you off,
you good,
to
you good.
speak to speak to that or whatnot. I think if we are being honest, I think we all kind of fall victim to that in some sort of way. Can see something and it can be thought provoking or whatever, and have you on the same level when you really think back, like, what the hell am I mad for here? I ain't got
Right.
shit to do with that.
Ain't got nothing to do with it, man. It just got me feeling some type of way. So yeah.
Correct.
And with that being said, last month was what Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
What's your viewpoint on that? What
man. And on a personal note, as we have spoke or whatever, this is something that I most definitely want to kind of shed some sort of light on or whatnot. And to all
Mhm.
my fellas and people that may be out there listening to us once we post this, man, to my good peoples, hey, bro, go get yourself checked out, man. So far as with your mental health, bro, don't sit on that.
Yeah.
Don't allow yourself to marinate in those thoughts or whatnot. Uh,
Mhm.
know that it's okay. You feel me? That you do feel that way, and that it's okay to seek help or whatever. We
Yeah.
got to get out of that taboo way of thinking that oh man, we can't be putting people in our business or whatever. But when you on social media and gallivanting in certain areas and arenas, you put yourself in other people in your business. So damn it, put somebody else in your business for a good reason. Shit. But no, but no, seriously, nah, fellas, especially us black men or what, and not to exclude any other of our listeners out there, but mainly to our black men, brothers, do yourself a favor, man. If you know you ain't feeling right and you
Mhm.
feeling antsy or whatnot, man, do yourself a favor, bro. Go talk to somebody, man, and get that up off of you. Cause I'm
That
going
part.
through the process and I'm not scared to speak on it or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's black men. I will say what I'm realizing, just dealing with my brothers, and just from my viewpoint, just me looking at. I'm not a man, so I can't speak from the space of a man. I can only speak from the space of a woman. A lot of men really don't be want to open up, Corey. Like I don't know if it's
It's hard.
this
It's
shield
hard.
that y'all feel like y'all gotta have. Like, and I guess too for so long. A lot of times we expect men to just be providers and protectors. We give y'all this one dimensional image when in reality y'all be just as damn complex as women when it comes to certain stuff.
Man, if not, like you say.
like
like
we
seriously.
like for real. Like I know for me, I'm learning how to. I don't know. I be wanting. This is my personal experience. I be trying to be open to listen to my partner talk, but sometimes I just feel shut out. Even when I do open, because for me, I feel like me talking and telling you what I have going on is opening the door for you to open up and talk. But that's not always what I get. So I guess I'm saying we have to find a way, men have to find a way to be comfortable enough to open up and talk. And I don't know if women always have the correct way. Not saying that we should be responsible for that because we're always responsible for our own emotions and feelings and thoughts. So that mean not, I ain't saying women go out here and make your man talk. No, I'm not saying that. But
Right. But
it,
give him the space and opportunity too, or whatever,
yeah,
the comfort, the safe space, the comfortability, you know what I'm saying, for
yeah,
him to do that or whatever. You feel me?
yeah.
So
Because I
yeah,
think
I
women,
agree.
we feel more comfortable talking when it comes to certain things. And I will say this too. I'm realizing that women do better when they have friends. Women come from a circle of love and having each other, and that
Correct.
is dying. um that's dying. Women have always, just like elephants. You know how elephants, they keep that, it's all women and the young. Soon as that male elephant becomes a bull, what happens? He
And
leaves. They
yeah,
keep him on. Same with lions.
uh-huh.
Who runs the lion? Lionesses are together as one
Yeah,
with the cubs. You may have one man that come in and make, but he gone on. Soon as those male cubs get big enough, they go on. They leave. So I'm saying that to say that women need to start getting into women's groups, being with women, because when your women are strong, your men can be strong.
for
And
sure.
feel comfortable. Men don't really have them circles. You may have one or two homeboys you can talk to, but them niggas be dumb as shit. Excuse my language, but
Right.
I'm not even gonna say no. I can't speak of that because I'm not a man. I'll let you speak on that part. But
No. You speaking facts to a degree or whatever. And like you say, not necessarily that the homie or the brother dumb or whatever. That he lack he lack comprehension when what you trying to spill to him or whatever. You
yeah,
feel me? You feel like you're talking to a wall or whatnot, or um he lacked just the empathy or
yeah,
period to even feel you. You know what I mean? So
yes, that's it. The comprehension and the compassion are not there.
man, that part, you feel me? So like that makes you even more reluctant as a man, especially as a
Yeah,
black man coming from our communities to even speak on anything or whatever, you know? And then
yeah,
like we spoke on a personal note also as well, you know, to our southern brothers out there, I know you feel this or whatever, that we were raised, especially a lot of us millennials or whatever y'all like to call us, but us 80s and early 90 babies, we were
hmm
raised that a man's supposed to be a man regardless or
yeah,
whatnot, especially if you come from like some sort of single parent home atmosphere.
hmm
Even with that being said, you know, I can't speak to a lot of homes, but the greater majority of black homes that had that mother and son dynamic, she
hmm
most definitely installed in you, man, son, you got to get up there and go out there and get it. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Whether that's education or you working or whatever. Just
hmm
that southern aspect of a man gonna go to work or whatever. Just like most of our jobs back at home are what industrial warehouse and
hmm
factory or
hmm
whatever. So in our minds, that's ingrained as a hard working man or
yep,
whatever, because he working 12 some hours, overexpending himself or whatever,
yep,
you know, and all of that, you know. And so when you don't live up to that or whatever on a personal note, whether that particular young black man want to admit it, that's why we go chasing other shit, excuse my language or
yeah,
whatever, so far as in hustling.
yeah,
I be telling my brothers out here in Colorado, you know, out west, that us southerners, we made hustling and trapping the art or
yep,
whatever.
yep.
Like like we the way we can rub some, as we say, pennies together and make some shit happen. Shit,
Man,
it's profound.
we gonna make
So
some
again,
shake always.
man, man, come on now, you
Yeah,
know, resourceful is the
yeah,
word or whatever. Um, Nevertheless, though, again, just coming from those aspects or whatever, it just make it hard for our brothers to you know, like I say, open up and speak or whatever.
yeah,
But again, to our sisters or whatever, continue to have that common ground where bro can feel comfortable come to you and have that safe haven, and he can speak his mind,
yeah,
and don't nothing be thrown back at them, and that's
yeah,
vice versa. You feel me? If
yeah,
she confiding in you, bro, don't hold shit over that woman head and throw it in her face or whatever, because
yeah.
that define that defeats the purpose of y'all both trying to
Work together for a common goal.
yes, yeah,
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 yeah, I agree. And like I said before, women, I realize we thrive better in a community of other women,
like a
like-minded women.
tether. You feel
But
me?
yeah, when the women are strong, the men will be strong because when you have a support system as a woman from other women, you can raise your sons. But hopefully we like for the fathers to be there. This is just you know, just a general conversation. But when the women are strong in your community, the men are strong. And I think we live in a country that focuses on our values are based off of somebody else's values as black people. Because the more I think about it, usually in black communities, who is the lead? Big mama. You got big mama. It used to be big mama, grandmama, grand, whoever. They were always, the matriarch always led the family. in Black communities. And when you had that strong support, you felt okay. You felt supported. But our dynamics has changed in our community as what we deem as important. We've kind of fallen into somebody else's idea of what a family dynamic, what our community dynamic should look like.
Correct. And also too, like you said, or with that or whatever, that whole movement where of
Yeah,
independency or whatever, and thinking that we can go at it alone
yeah.
when truly we need each other or
We need
whatnot.
each
You
other.
feel me?
Yes, yes. Because you
So
think about it, before integration, all we had was each other when we were segregated. We had a community. Everybody worked together in the Black community. We kept our dollars in our community. We all supported each other. We had our own everything. And the moment we asked for a seat at somebody else's table, that was chopped apart, torn apart. So now we're
right,
out here living by somebody else's rule. When you ask for a seat at somebody else's table, you have to follow whose rules? Their rules. So,
that part.
so
And that's why we can't be surprised when we mistreating in these particular
yeah,
places. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yes. So that
Because like you said, and not to cut you off,
no, you
real quick, we lost that, or a lot of us forgotten that we
yeah,
had those communities, just like
yeah,
how a lot of these other ethnic groups have their own,
yeah,
separate communities and shopping areas that a lot of them shop in or whatever. We once
yeah.
had that, but
We
they
had that.
they dismantled it.
Yes, and it may not have looked as good as theirs, but we had that. The men, you think about it, the women took care of what they took care of. They were together, and the men were together. It was a sense of belonging. And I'm not saying that back then men's mental health was just the strongest, but I think it was better than what it is now. Everybody in the Black community is in a sense of isolation, to me.
Right.
We're isolated. We're more so with our immediate
Cut
families.
off.
Yeah, we cut
Mm-hmm.
off. We cut off. Like, and I'm not saying it's good to move and go here, there, and live every, but a lot of times when the situation where it's just the husband and the wife, or you two, your nuclear family, but it was always better for us when we had a supporting cast around us, because you felt more comfortable and you could be yourself. Well, now we're moving into spaces where we are basically isolated and cut off from, you the minority in places. So now you having to acclimate yourself and matriculate into somebody else's society. So with that
Right.
being said, let's go right into a conversation, a topic.
For sure.
So our topics. So beyond the Mason-Dixon line, this is what we came up. So me and Corey were just talking about the struggles of basically being Black and moving across I ain't gonna say diaspora, because diaspora is like going to other countries, but the
Right, right, right.
diaspora of the United States.
For sure. Right.
And like us being Southerners, basically pretty much most of the Black people in this country come from the South. Like, that's the origins of it. Like, beyond the Mason-Dixon line, but even though wherever I go, I'm Southern everywhere I go, because it started with us. So we get into it. Of course, we're gonna always give y'all a little history behind, you know, because we want to give you all a complete picture. We just ain't finna just be throwing out shit. So we're gonna give you a brief history of Black people and some facts and where they started, you know, our origins. Of course, like I said, I'm from the South. Corey's from the South. Your whole family from the South, ain't the Corey?
Yeah, on both sides, originally.
Yeah, both sides. My family is from Tennessee and more migrated from North Carolina. I'm pretty sure when it was North Carolina and Tennessee together, and Virginia. But we've been here in the South, Eastern Seaboard since forever. So, with that being said, the origins of most Black people are the South or the Eastern Seaboard. You got the transatlantic slave trade from 16th through 19th century. It's basically when Portuguese and Spanish colonizers brought Black Africans to the United States from West and Central Africa. Majority of them came from the Biafra, which is Nigeria and Cameroon,
Oh,
the Gambia, which is Senegal and Gambia, the Windward Coast, which is Liberia and Cote d'Ivoire, which is Ivory Coast, and the Bight Benin, which is Togo, Benin, and Nigeria. But also, you had black people here already, indigenous black Americans. And basically, the generalized tribes were Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, Muskogee, Seminole. And then you have some honorable mentions along the Carolinas and Georgia up into the eastern coast, like I said, eastern seaboard. Because I know you had black people in Canada too already. And then in
uh-huh.
Florida, you have
What we
the
call Nova
Yamasee.
Scotia.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
have the We ain't get into the detail. We just giving y'all a brief, but you had the Yamasee, which were apart from the Carolinas and the Georgia, and you had the Shinnecock, which were from Long Island, New York. And I don't know if y'all know ODB. He always claimed that he was Shinnecock. So
Sure. Shut up. Rest in peace, ODB.
man, ODB used to give y'all work. Y'all thought that
Man.
man was crazy. A
Bro
brother
had a
didn't
dope
tell.
soul, man.
He did. He did. He was deeper than people wanted to, I realized the black people too, or in that world, you have to play the fool sometimes to get what you're trying to get across. People may not give you your flowers while you living, but they'll realize like, oh shit, this is what he was on later on. So shout
Right.
out
I
to,
might I might be misquoting it. It comes from the one of the laws of power or whatnot. I know it was like they say you play a mark to spot one or something to that particular nature or whatever. But so far as basically it's saying, play dumb or whatever.
play dumb. Yeah, if you got to play dumb to get your point across. Your boy Charleston White do that all the time. So
Yes.
basically, so like I said, you had the transatlantic slave trade, and you also had indigenous Americans already here. But what the U.S. government did, they came up with the DAWS rolls, DAWS rolls. This is when the U.S. government instituted these rolls to reclassify indigenous blacks as colored or black, to take their land and strip them of their tribal identity, and they put indigenous names into a freedom roll, and that is the roll that can be used to identify the original families whose land was taken. That's just a little fun fact for you guys.
And also to go into that or whatnot, quick little tidbit. Most black people who have the last names Moore,
Mm.
double O-R-E or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and the last names of like Blackman, or
Oh.
the names of Freeman. Most of those are black people, common surnames or whatnot, and
Mm.
those describe the name of the people because you was a freedman
Mm.
when you signed your paper. The only way they could describe you is, well, what's your name, boy? Tom. Tom Blackman. There you go.
Right. I'm a
Yeah.
Tom Freeman because I'm a Freeman. And I know it's a lot of indigenous people whose last names is Jones. Jones is an indigenous name that I don't know where it came from, but I listened to a lady, Queen Janice, and she lives in Georgia. And she's saying that a lot of people with the last name Jones are 9 times out of 10 indigenous Americans that were already here.
Yeah.
So, so real quick, the Great Migration. So, like I said, a majority of black people come from the South and the Eastern Seaboard. Ain't no way around it. It was some out west, but I don't, majority of us migrated from the South. The first wave of the migration was from 1910 to 1940. This is when approximately 1.5 billion Southerners moved to northern cities like New York, Chicago, Detroit, and Pittsburgh due to labor shortages during World War I and the collapse of the cotton economy in the South. The second wave was from 1940 to 1970. Over 5 million Black Americans expanded to the West Coast, i.e., Los Angeles and Oakland, mostly from Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So a lot of y'all cousins, like I think who was that? Brandy and Ray J, they from Mississippi. They were born in Mississippi.
Along with Snoop people from Mississippi and shit.
Yes. So
Um, And my people, I had to give them a shout out. They was a part of that second migration. They left Tennessee and Mississippi to go to Chicago or whatnot. That's
Yes,
why I have so much extended family in Chicago or
yes.
whatnot due to that particular migration. They were tired of the Jim Crow South and went to Chicago to experience a different part of racism. But I'll let you continue though. Go ahead.
Yeah, because a lot of people from Chicago and St. Louis are from Memphis and Tennessee. They migrated from
hmm
Mississippi, and they call Memphis Little Chicago because if you look at, you
Yeah,
follow the
in North
interstate.
Memphis. Yeah,
Yes,
that's a neighborhood in North Memphis. Yeah.
Little Chicago. But if you follow the interstate, I think I-51, it'll take you straight into St. Louis and then into Chicago, straight from Memphis, straight shot. So you have a lot of black people who left Mississippi, moved to Memphis, and then from Memphis they migrated to St. Louis as well as
Yeah, I got hella
Chicago.
people there too. Yeah, yeah. They
Yeah.
went on, like us, we would leave Jackson, leaving West, go through
Mm-hmm.
Dyersburg,
Yep.
go through this little small town in, Missouri called Boomtown where we used to
Yep.
get fireworks and they throw the rolls, there
Yeah.
or
Oh,
whatever.
Lamberts.
Yeah,
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 Lamberts
it's
Road.
there
Yes.
or
Yes.
whatnot. And then, we'll head on in from there or whatnot. But yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. So that was your second wave. Then you, from 1970 to current time, you have reverse migration. And basically, the reverse migration is the reverse migration of Black Americans back to the South for lower cost of living, family ties, more opportunities, and in growing metropolitan areas like Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, and Houston. Uh, Another little quick tidbit. By 1910, approximately 90% of Black Americans lived in the South. By 1970, that number dropped to 53%. Black Americans shaped the cultural, political, and social fabric of the United States. So, y'all got the little history lesson. So now we're finna get into the racial difficulties facing each region of the United States by Black Americans that live there. So I don't know if you want to read or you want me to keep reading and we just remark on it.
I mean, you can or whatnot, or if you wanted me to chime in or whatnot.
Okay. Well, I can keep reading and we can just go from there. So a lot
Okay,
of people, so the first region we're gonna talk about
I'm
is the East,
following.
is the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So East Coast racism is a little different. You know, in the East Coast, I consider that like New York, uh, DC, the DMV
Philly, all of
area.
that.
All of
Yeah,
that, yeah, up on the East Coast. So it's characterized by systematic covert racism, interpersonal and microaggressive behaviors. There are deep historical roots in racism and modern day disparities. They're viewed most of the time they're viewed as progressive, but it has a complex legacy of segregation, discriminatory housing policy, and law enforcement profiling. One of the big ones was redlining, that was denying mortgages and financial services to specific neighborhoods, especially in Boston, New York, Philly. And what happens is this creates massive wealth gaps and unequal distribution of resources. And Jaylen Brown basically touched on that. I don't know if you've been keeping up, but he
yes, for sure,
basically,
man. Yeah,
yeah,
Jalen Brown, one of our young champions, man.
yes, that man is brilliant. He was just basically speaking on Boston and how the city is really slick racist. Like
And it had always had that undertone. Boston, unfortunately, whatnot, with South Boston, with
yeah,
they history, and you got they go by Providences or whatever.
Roxbury, is it Roxbury?
Roxbury,
Yep,
which is the black area or
yep,
whatnot. Yeah, I'm kind of familiar with it too as well.
yeah.
So yeah,
That's where
continue. I'm listening.
that's where who is it? Bobby Brown. What's the name of that little group? Oh
New
man,
Edition.
Ken.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where they
New
from.
Edition.
Yeah, New
That's where
Edition.
they're
Yeah, that's where
from.
they from.
And it's a whole different ball game. It's more
Just like,
like
ooh, not to cut you off, and I
I
just
know
thought
you
about
good.
it. Mark Wahlberg or whatever.
Yes,
We don't seen
yes,
him in Marky Mark and
yes,
Funky Band and New Kids on the
yes.
Block.
New
All
Kids
that.
on the Block, all of
Um,
that. Yes,
yeah, them white boys, especially and it's the truth, and I hate to say it like that, y'all, but Mark Wahlberg has a history of racism. Like, bro
yes,
got in hella trouble in the '80s for his exploits or whatnot, being a
yes,
young Boston teenager. So
yes.
yeah.
So it runs heavy there. So that's what you have. You have redlining, and then the criminal justice disparities. So basically, you have higher rates of police stops, arrests, and harsher sentencing. And we saw this under Rudy Giuliani. It really picked up when Rudy Giuliani was the mayor of New York. He created the stop and frisk. So basically, at any moment, if the police stop you, they had the right to frisk you without even giving you any rights. And they say that the crime went down, but saw more black people go to jail. So that's another issue that you see in the East Coast. And you see health and environmental injustices as well. So,
Yeah,
uh,
real slums in the upper East Coast or whatnot. Real
man,
slums. I think poverty looks different in each area. You
yes,
go from out west out here. Poverty, of course, in New York or whatnot, because it's real more dilapidated
yes.
and especially in our bigger, cities or whatever. But yeah, I
Yeah,
follow
and
you.
I remember it was like a big argument about the projects in the South versus the projects up north. And people up north was like, y'all don't live in no bricks in the South. Y'all live in apartments. And people down south was like, bro, I'd rather live in the so-called apartments any day, because them high rises, the way y'all have to live, nah, we good on that.
On top of each other.
On
Yeah,
top of each
you
other,
feel
right?
me?
But at the end of the day, it's still the projects. Nobody wants to
Right,
live.
man. And
It's just
key word project. We
exactly
what we used to do in elementary school, complete projects.
project. So if
Mhm.
y'all don't know the history of projects, they were created after World War II for GIs to come home to have housing, and not black GIs. This was Caucasian GIs to have
That
housing,
part. Yeah.
because they figure a lot of them, but because a lot of them came home, they didn't really have land. So what they did was they ended up they some of them did live in the projects for a little while, but they ended up turning the projects into places for black people, and they started giving white GIs, property and land that they confiscated during World War II. They called it war bonds. So they took a lot of land and
Hmm.
redistributed it to other GIs for, with the GI Bill and stuff. So a lot of people really didn't get their land and stuff until the 1940s, after World War I, World War II, and they make you think that they've been having this forever. But I digress. I ain't gonna get that deep into
And
that. But
also too, also in that same time area, it's perfect that you spoke on that or whatever, where America adopted the word ghetto.
yes,
We ain't hear that word until we seen what those Nazi
yes,
camps or
camp,
whatnot.
yeah, camp,
That's what they described them as, Europeans as ghettos or
yes,
whatnot.
the
So what they
Polish
said.
ghettos,
So what we gonna do to these niggas? Put their ass in ghettos in
ghettos,
these projects
yes. So
and
that's a
watch
little
them.
bit of that's the
Yeah.
history of it. We giving y'all some facts. Giving y'all some facts. So okay, so now we're gonna move on to the West Coast. West Coast is characterized by deep systematic passive racism. It's viewed as political progressiveness that covers up deep historical roots of systematic exclusion, gentrification, and segregation. It's a
Man,
diverse it's a diverse region, but institutionally inequality, covert discrimination, and overt hate crimes. Hence,
man,
Rodney King, the list goes on. So restrictive covenants are basically racially restrictive housing covenants, explicitly banning blacks from owning or renting homes in desirable neighborhood. That's where your HOAs come into play. That's an example.
hmm
A restrictive covenant is an example of a HOA. Uh, California and the Pacific Northwest is also known for sundown towns, not just the South, sundown towns. If you look at the history of Oregon, for years up until the 1970s. I
Man,
don't think they physically could, but in the 1970s, it was a law up until 1970s that blacks could not live in Oregon, which you had blacks living there, but that was in the law, in the books.
correct. And also too, out of Portland in Oregon or whatnot, unfortunately, that's where a lot of your neo-Nazism originates from.
Uh-huh. Yes, yes.
And to speak to the state that I'm in, Colorado, Colorado had the biggest form of the Ku Klux Klan on this side of the Mississippi. So
Really?
yes, ma'am. Look it up in Golden, Colorado. They used to have, man, it's a part of their history out here. You can go in museums and see, unfortunately, pictures and documentation of hoodsmen, marching through
Really?
Golden, Colorado.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. I did not know that. I mean, I don't know, I don't know what I Colorado comes off as this liberal place. It's like
Again,
kumbaya.
like how you just described eloquently about the Western experience with racism. That's Colorado. We're out west.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. So our next point, you have black tokenism due to a smaller black population. So you subject, like we were talking about earlier, a lot of us have migrated and moved to other places. So we don't have our immediate families, our grandmamas, our mamas and daddies. So you move out to a place, cause I know I be listening to a lot of black women say that dating out in LA is weird for them because they're usually the only black girls and the guys there don't really like to date black girls because it's only a handful of them and they're competing
it's
with other races, Hispanics or
it's
whatever.
the same. Those are the same demographics here in Colorado. The black
Oh, okay.
percent here in Colorado is 4%.
Oh my
Four
God.
4%. You feel me? And the greater majority, whether people like to admit it or not, is Hispanic or whatnot. But
Yeah.
outside of that, it would be Caucasian or white.
Okay.
Nevertheless, though, majority of the black women that I have come across or come in contact here in the greater city of Denver, or the box state is local
Mm-hmm.
Denverans and like to call it.
Mm-hmm.
They all say the same thing as you just said or whatever, that majority of the black dudes here, they
Mm-hmm.
go for the more quote unquote exotic looking girls or
Yes.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
because they have great communities of Asian,
Mm-hmm.
Hispanic, of course, like I said. But when I say Hispanic, they comes in all type of denominations and
Yeah.
races and
Yeah.
different ethnicities within being Hispanic people or
Yeah.
Spanish speaking people or whatever. So, man, the black people here be all over the place or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, I see that every day,
Okay, so
unfortunately.
Corey can attest that. So black tokenism due to smaller black population. Then of course, like we said, you have hate crimes, and you have law enforcement, racial profiling, and police brutality. That was big in the 80s during the crack era. They had the same kind of deal in LA. I can't remember who his name's on the tip of my tongue, who the LA police chief was, but he was big
Yeah, I
on that.
can't think of his name either. When
Yeah,
you had mentioned the one,
Giuliani.
yeah, Giuliani, I was thinking of him out there because he did. I think it was around the '60s during the Watts riots. He hired in white, ex-military vets from the South
Yeah.
to become
Oh, really?
police. Man, look that up or whatnot.
Okay.
So
In the
so
60s.
yeah, he the sheriff then or whatnot, and then the one to supersede him just
Mhm.
kept it on up. That's when they
Yes.
ushered
In the
into your
90s.
LA crash
Yes.
units and et cetera.
Yes. In the 80s and 90s. I want to say his last name is Gates. I can't remember his last name. Don't give me the line. But yes, he was the one who really took it up a notch, which led to the 92 riots. But yeah, whoever he was, I can't remember his name. It'll come to me after we get off of here. But yes, that was
And
big.
also the killing of our young good sister over orange juice. Just the almost the identical killing of our young man who died in the
Yeah.
hands of Ricky Chow, whatnot. She
Yeah.
died off Figaro and Hoover, or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And also too to speak to that particular community or whatever. When I said the crash units was created patrolling that particular community of the greater Hoover district. So yeah,
Mm. Okay, is that
that
in
part.
South Central or is that in what
So,
what
well, like the
Inglewood,
no,
Crenshaw?
like the homies like to say, it's really called South LA, but the police
Okay,
district named it South
South
Central.
Central. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, Furious Tales coming with the knowledge as we kick in. Okay, so next we got Midwest. Midwest racism is characterized by interpersonal and passive aggressive racism. You got the Midwest nice, which is a unique systematic form of racism masked by niceness. They are described as polite but are passive aggressive using subtle inclusions, coded language, microaggression, and cliques in social and professional settings as tactics. Home to some of the most hyper segregated metropolitan areas. You got Chicago, Detroit, and Milwaukee. And some of the things that we see home ownership gap, economic inequality, and high incarceration rates. And that goes back to Martin Luther King. He marched all over the South, but he said when he went to Chicago, he was like,
Yeah,
I ain't
that
never
was a
seen
whole different.
nothing. What did he say, bro?
Uh,
He said, I have never seen, even in Mississippi and Alabama, mobs as hateful as I have seen here in Chicago. That's what
Man,
they hit him in the head with a rock,
yeah,
didn't they?
they
Or
hit him in
brick
the
or
head with a bottle. Yeah, man, the white
something?
boy said, man, you need to get out of here, nigga. It ain't funny, but they were for real.
Yes.
Like, shit.
Yes, and you can see
But
going on in Chicago now, like to this day. Places like Milwaukee and Detroit. Detroit was a big, beautiful, booming city. Like my family migrated from Jackson. On my dad's side, a lot of them left in the 70s and 80s. They moved to in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. They moved to Detroit to work
yeah, I
at
got family
Ford.
up there in the D too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
work at the factories, and they became
Uh-huh.
they made off well. They had good money. They were able to buy homes. They had nice neighborhoods, nice cars, got pensions. But then I don't know what happened. The collapse of Detroit. They started pulling a lot of those factory jobs and sending them overseas. That was during the 80s, early 90s. You started getting into NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Act. So a lot of those car
And
jobs,
taking people pensions and shit. Yeah.
yes. A lot of those jobs were sent to Mexico because now you got free trade amongst Canada, United States, and Mexico, so it's cheaper labor. So a lot of people lost jobs and lost their homes in Detroit due to that. Um, yeah, Milwaukee. I ain't never really know too much about Milwaukee. I visited there like once or twice, but it was always I didn't really.
My family in Gary, I got family in Gary too, because Gary is east of Chicago or whatnot.
Oh, Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, and I got folks on my mama and my father's side or whatever, that stay in Gary, and man, they went through a whole lot of that same despair because Gary was a steel town or whatever.
Yes. Well, Gary is like that now. Gary is a ghost town. My mom's family lives in Indianapolis. They're from Indianapolis. And we leave Indianapolis to go to Chicago, you go through Gary. So you got places like Gary, you got East St. Louis, which is right outside on the outskirts of St. Louis. Those places are dilapidated now because there's no industry. Nobody has jobs. Those jobs have went into Chicago and into St. Louis. So a lot of those were predominantly black towns that have nothing there anymore. Like we rode
Yeah,
through East St. Louis a few years ago and it was just like a ghost town. Gary the same way. It's nothing in Gary, bro. Nothing. Except for a Michael Jackson mural and the Jackson's old family house that they made a
house or
historical landmark.
whatnot. Yeah.
That's it.
Well,
Okay, so
really.
next. Oh, you go ahead. I'm sorry, recording.
No. Go ahead. No, I was just saying literally. I was agreeing.
Okay, so next we got the Southwest, which is characterized by a mix of covert racism, microaggressiveness, and black isolation due to a smaller black populace than that of the South. It mirrors the South, but compounded by unique regional dynamics such as intercultural relations with Mexicans, Hispanics, and Native American.
Again, Colorado fits that same criteria or whatever. Just south of us or whatever is everything you just explained or whatever.
Right.
Just south of us or whatnot. And more cities like Pueblo, which
Mm-hmm.
Pueblo is like one of the worst cities in America or whatever, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, look it up, do the crime and shit, like straight up. Nevertheless, though, here again, like I had explained, dynamic wise, Hispanic is the greater majority.
Mm.
There's a unfortunate great flux of Hispanics here who
Mm.
coincide with white
Yeah.
and who just
They,
don't really. It's a unfortunate, but it's the truth. They don't
yeah.
really get no fuck about no nigga. Excuse my language.
So they're more, what they call it, white aligning, Caucasian aligning in their values.
Yeah, not all of them, but
The
there's a greater
majority of
majority of them, though, for sure.
them. Hmm.
And that's even in California or whatever. That's due to
Yeah.
politics, even gang wise or whatever. Because
Yeah.
in a penitentiary or whatever, if we talking California politics or whatever, if you are part of, like, hey, man, the Mexican mafia, anything with that 13th letter behind it or whatever,
Hmm.
that you see in gang graffiti,
Hmm.
they coincide with their agenda, and their agenda is not fucking with nothing black. No
Got
miates, as they say.
Okay, okay. And 13 is the divine feminine number. Oh wow. So I wonder what made them choose 13. But okay.
M, because of the letter M
Oh, the letter
for
M.
mafia. Yeah.
Oh. But how's
Yeah.
that 13?
What's that? Hold on. No, what's the 13th letter? Hold on.
It
Shit.
might be M. Okay, M missed 13. It must be M. You ain't got to count that because I was like, what made them choose the number 13? That's like divine feminine number. But
Because,
the
yeah,
the
because yeah, the yeah, because the Norteños or whatever, because that's where they get the whole saying or whatever, like
oh.
um Norteños, they Northerners,
Mhm.
Northern Mexicans or whatever from Northern California, they bang 14 or whatever, and that's for the
Mhm.
end
Oh.
or
Okay.
North Tech. Yeah, so
Okay. So they coincide with the lettering of the alphabet. Gotcha. Okay.
correct. And
They
long
doing a
story
little.
short, though, what I'm saying, their politics has leached on the streets. That's
Yeah.
why, in California, especially in LA, whether people like to say yes, black and love, brown pride, whatever, Pac said or whatever, I'm with all of that at the end of the day. But I'm also smart enough to know the greater majority of your essays that you may run into, they will down you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the unfortunate truth.
True.
Straight up.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then. So, so some of the things that we see are red line in the Southwest is redlining and segregation again, education, and you also have sundown towns. So apparently Tempe, Arizona used to be a sundown town back in the
I
day.
can believe it.
Never knew. So
Arizona was a red state, so
sure was. And you had that sheriff in Maricopa County. I think they got rid of him, boy. He did not play. He was not nothing nice, baby. Ooh, he was even mean to people coming across the border. I can't remember his name, but Maricopa is, I want to say, is that Phoenix? It's right there on the border.
that's where I think they was doing that long range, killing of people coming across the border, man.
Yes, he was not playing, baby. He was getting them come across that border you won't. Baby, he was getting you, shipping you out. You're going to go back and either dead or alive, whichever he decides. So I think they got him out of there because had some misconduct going on, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last but not least, we got the South. It's characterized by covert cultural clashes, stratified social dynamics, and
Man,
microaggressiveness. It's a complex web of systematic racism rooted in the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow era laws and political systems. Uh, a lot of the things that you see are economic challenges, which are low income and wages, and that's still active to this day. High rates of
man, to this
poverty,
day.
political disenfranchisement, and you have a lot of Jim Crow era evolution of institutionalized disparities. So, with the political disenfranchisement, we see that going on in Memphis and
Right
Louisiana, where they're
now,
trying, yeah, right now, where they're really trying to redo the districting to where you only have a limited amount of Democratic seats. So in Memphis, which is a predominantly Democratic city, they trying to wipe out all their Democratic seats and give them all Republican seating.
man.
Yeah. And they've gone in, they just struck down in Memphis. They were trying to have the state take over the school system, but they struck that down. They do have the National Guard there. So, yeah.
Just unrest.
Yes, just
Political unrest, man.
a political civil unrest. And to me, Memphis
Hmm.
is the seat of a lot of things. Like people don't realize how important Memphis is. Like that's one of your last African American strongholds.
Black cities. Yeah, folks
Yes.
don't even realize the significance of that shit. You feel
Yeah.
me? And
One
and
of
then,
your last chocolate cities.
and not only that, even to speak to the people at home, a lot of our good people at home don't even realize the seriousness of that or
No.
whatnot, and it's right there in your face and in
In
your
your face.
backyard.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if you think that if they willing to put boots on the ground right there, what you think was stopping them from putting boots on the ground in your backyard?
Exactly. Because Memphis is where the good water is, the well aquifers
Yes, so one of the
underground.
biggest aquifers. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Yes.
you have the Mississippi River, which is a serious trading, a serious waterway that moves things. You have a lot of trains that come through Memphis. A lot of
Hmm.
trains. Like Memphis is kind of like St. Louis. That's the last stop before you cross the Mississippi going west. Cause St. Louis, the Gateway Arches is basically the gateway to the west. Memphis is the same way. So you have a lot of transportation routes coming through there. And I don't think people realize the seriousness of this. Like the thing about that makes Memphis different is majority of the people that it's a chocolate city, but most of those people are indigenous to that city. They have been there. Whereas you go to an Atlanta, it's a chocolate city, but most of those people have migrated there. They're imports from elsewhere. You go to
Right.
DC,
A
Maryland,
lot of homebred.
yeah, I think Maryland is still quite a few people that are from there, but Memphis is one of the last southern cities where majority of the people that live there that are black were originally from there, and they
And
are
not only
becoming.
that, sense of close proximity, because I have people, that's on my dad's side and on my mother's side, Mississippi. That's where her dad's people come from. So, nevertheless, anyway, such close
Mhm.
proximity. You got a lot of Memphians who find their roots in Mississippi or whatever, because they right
Yes,
there on Horn Lake, Mississippi, all
yes,
them little towns or
it's
whatever. That's
right
right
there
there.
next to Memphis. Yes,
Yeah.
I know Coldwater, Mississippi. You got what Horn Lake. You got DeSoto County, which is right there. You got
Yeah, I
Tunica.
couldn't think of yeah,
Yeah,
all it.
DeSoto
Yeah,
County.
yeah.
You got what is it South Haven? Is Mississippi South Haven, Mississippi?
Yep, South Haven,
South
Mississippi. Yes,
Haven.
ma'am. Yeah.
It's all right there. And people don't understand. Like Memphis is a serious. I hate it for the city. I really do, because that
I
would be
look
the
at
only.
not to cut you off
Oh
real
no, you
quick.
good? You good?
I look at Memphis real quick is like just like how it was kind of eloquently named after the one of the great cities over there in Egypt or
Yeah.
whatever, being right there off the river of the Mississippi. Coming from like how you know how they say the Nile flows backwards or whatever.
Yes.
It flows from south to north or whatnot,
Yeah.
and they say that's how the information historically traveled. It went
Mhm.
from what we now know as Sudan Kush on its way, and it worked
Yes.
its way till it reached its zenith. It's it's hype up in Egypt or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they upper and lower Egypt. Nevertheless, I look at Memphis as the culture went through all the hardships of the Mississippi's and worked its
Mm-hmm.
way up through the Delta, through
Yes.
them swamps and bayous, and it came at its zenith. That's where the birth of R&B and so much
Mm-hmm.
soul and
Blues,
flavor
soul. Yes.
and it came right there at its epicenter because who rivaled Motown in the 60s and the 70s? Stax Music, right
Stax
there in Memphis.
Music. Stax. Yes, Stax
Uh,
Music. Stax did a big concert out west in California, the Stax Watts. Stax
yeah, the
Watts
Watts
concert
event.
in yes, in the 70s.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
so
where all the Crips had met up. But yeah, continue.
Memphis, like you said, Memphis is a very important place. Like that's where soul came from, soul music. You gotta think about hip hop, rap. You know, they're just now
Hmm.
recognizing Memphis rap, but we grew up on that, so we know how deep it
Man,
runs. We know Memphis, like, and my mama, she's from Indianapolis, but she went to Lane, and she would always tell me, she said, I would listen to Memphis music in Memphis. She said Memphis would set the tone for because she said Memphis will always come out with the songs first, black music first, before it hit the rest of the country. Of course, that has changed. This was back in the 70s and 80s, but she said I always looked to Memphis for music because they were the sound. You knew what direction they were going with music whenever it came out of Memphis.
that part, man.
So,
All of that, man. Push through
yeah,
there. Birth the country music in our
man,
region from
yeah.
black people at that, whether
Because
y'all want
country
to accept
music
it.
came from the blues. Country music is
Right.
the blues, just with a
They were
different
doing what
count.
they call it what was their music with the banjos, even though a banjo is a African instrument, by the way. Um Nevertheless, what was
Bluegrass,
that?
bluegrass.
Bluegrass, yeah, the hillbilly music.
Yeah, bluegrass. Yep. So Memphis, like I said, is a very historical place. I'm curious to see how it turns out there. I hate it. I really hate it. I
Yeah, man,
really
you
hate it.
both, man.
Like
Cause
Memphis would be the only other place I would live in Tennessee other than Jackson. And if I left Chattanooga, it would be Memphis. But I don't know what the
yeah,
conditions are like.
me and you both, like I say, just because of my family history or whatever. That's
Yeah.
my father's origins or whatnot. I spent half of my life back and forth from Memphis or whatever, so
Yeah.
man, and then plus to us Jacksons or whatever,
Yeah.
folks who forget at one point in time everything in Jackson was 901. You feel
Yeah.
me?
901. That's it. That's it. So you got anything
Yeah.
else you want to add, Corey? I would love to figure out how to get the music playing on here, but I can't. So I have to do it next time. But
Man, nah, man, it was good to conversate, good to be
yeah, good to be
kicking
back on this
flames.
thing.
Yeah,
Exactly. So we gonna close out. I ain't got nothing. We'll come up with some closing stuff later. But shouts out to everybody. I do want to give a shout out though to Ashley. He gave me all the beats to download. I just got to figure out how to get them on here. So shout out to Big VZA Dot at Monster
that
Music
part,
Mart on
that
YouTube
part.
for the fire beats. Like we are about sharing and uplifting
And
community.
supporting our own.
Yeah, support our own. Like if you have something, share. Like be open. Like if you posting stuff online and you see people Facebook that you may know, share it. Even if you don't even fool with them like that, still share it. Like you never know what you can do instead of sitting there judging. People be doing stuff. So like I said, shout out to Big VZA Dot Monster Mart Music on YouTube for the beats. He's a fellow West Tennessean that has supported Fuck Your Thoughts since day one. So please support. We want to support
Big up,
keeping creativity alive because more creatives are needed.
man. All that.
That part.
All that.
All right, let me see. Okay, so I guess you probably need to push the power button in the top, Corey. You
Okay.
see the power. I'm gonna push because I don't. This different. So we gonna see. Hopefully this save. So I'm gonna put. You can push the power and push. I do give you an option to leave.
Yeah, all I see is the power button or whatnot. So I'm gonna just go with that though, man. So
All right.
peace, peace, peace.
Peace to the next time.